Hey, it's me, Tammy B, and this is my review for the haves and the have-nots. All right, you guys, so it's the season finale. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So it is the season finale of season 4, episode 11, titled 48 Hours. So the episode starts off with Candace twiddling around the house. Okay, she got the heels on still. Granted, I know she's supposed to be getting ready to go somewhere, but I don't know. As soon as I walk in the door, I take off my shoes. So, and not just because, I'm a house that take your shoes off, but just who just walks around in their house in shoes all the time? Am I the only person who doesn't do that? So I was just like, okay. And then, so anyway, next thing you know, she walk into the living room and there go War sitting on the couch. I'm like, okay, all this stuff you've been doing, you ain't learned to lock your door. And don't get me wrong, I understand War is a thief, a killer, a drug dealer, whatever. But he didn't have no breaking and entering tools. So I'm like, how he get in there? But anyway, he tell Candace to come here. She come all close, and the next thing you know, he smacked the heck out of her, y'all. I'm like, oh my gosh, War, will you stop being this way? Like, I liked you. So anyway, he kind of questioned her, like, oh, what did you tell Benny? You better not have told him. And she was like, no, I didn't tell him. I just don't want you to hurt him. So I was just trying to tell him not to go in business with you. Next thing you know, Erica walk in the door. Once again, just walk right on in. I mean, I guess since War just got in, he left the door open. But then that's another thing. I would feel like if War is a killer or a criminal and he come in there to beat up Candace, wouldn't he have locked the door? I understand they in one of those good neighborhoods, but I'm like, come on, y'all. Y'all in this door is killing me. So anyway, he be all nice, say hi, Erica. And I thought they knew each other. Well, they know each other, but I thought like, cause Erica been talking about War like she know him. So when Candace was like, oh, this is my friend Erica, I was like, what? But whatever. War walked Candace to the door and he was like, I'm changing the plan. You got 48 hours. So hence the name of the episode, 48 Hours. And I'm just like, War, like, she don't got the money. Or maybe he think that she lying about not having the money. She did lie before. But I'm like, to me, if I was waiting for somebody to give me some money, I would think they'd be better off alive than dead so they can do what they got to do to get the money. But whatever. So War leave, y'all. So Erica reveals to Candace, like, oh, that girl that War mutilated back in the day named Jasmine, like, that was my sister. And Candace was like, oh, I didn't even know that was your sister. And she was like, yeah, and I'm surprised War didn't even recognize me. Like, she had met him, I guess, a time or two, and I would think that she would maybe look a little bit like the sister, but whatever. War didn't recognize her. Or maybe he played it off. He got bigger fish to fry. He don't really know her, and she ain't got $1 million that he waiting to get from Candace, so he probably was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pretend like I don't know you and your little friend. So that was that, y'all. So Candace on the way to get her kid or whatever, and Erica was like, look, I understand you want to get your kid, but he been fine without you all this time. And Candace like, dang, don't do that or whatever. Don't say all that or whatever. And Erica was like, I got kids too, and they with my daddy, and they don't even want to see me, and they better off with my daddy. And I just think, your son would be better off with your mama. Like, War coming up in here trying to kill you. What you gonna do if War come in here and the kid is here? And I was like, that is a good point. Like, I didn't like the fact, like, oh, my kid's better off with somebody else, but unless that's for real the case. But I'm like, yeah, that is true. I mean, he popping up in the house that you about to bring the kid to. Like, you better get you a security or something. I'm surprised she ain't got an alarm system. I'm surprised the house didn't come with one, really, but whatever. Yeah, so that was that. So then we jump to the jail scene, y'all. So David and got old girl to let him in the jail. So he go to Jim's cell, like, look, here's the phone. You need to call off your hit right now or else. And then David say something like, if a hair on my wife's head is touched, like, oh, I'm going to kill you myself or something. And then he was like, you mean this hair? And he had Veronica wig, y'all. I was rolling. So Jim was like, yeah, you see, I got the power. whatever, I was able to get your wife's wig. And David was like, you playing with a wig behind bars. You call that power? I was rolling. They was just going at it. This little scene with David and Jim, I was here for it. It was so good. So, and then Jim said something smart like, well, you don't know where your wife lives, so you think you got power? I was like, man, they just giving it to each other. So then, David threatens Jim like, oh, I'm going to tell on you. And Jim is like, you tell on me, you telling on you, yada, yada, yada. And then David say something like, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to tell on you, whatever. And then Jim going to say, I'm so scared the hairs on my head is sticking up. And he hold up the wig again, y'all. I was just rolling. Like, I don't like Jim, but them little quips was so funny. So that was that for that part. So Candace go to the bank, y'all, because her friend Erica went ahead and forged the documents so that she can mortgage the house. So Candace goes to the bank. Clearly, this is the only bank in Savannah. But then again, Jim did give her the money. So maybe that's why it's tied to this same bank. I don't know. But anyway, this is the same bank guy that told Catherine earlier today that, Wyatt got his money. You need to move some money, this, and that. So this is the same bank guy. So anyway, he tell Candace, yeah, like the papers look good, the appraisal look good, your tax look good. It's going to take about 30 days. And she like, can you do it in 2 days? And he was like, no, that's impossible. So she played nice and was like, all right, well, go ahead and do it and I'll catch you later. Soon as Candace leave, he get on the phone to make a call to go see Jim. I was like, okay, here we go. So meanwhile, Catherine busts up into the DA office like, yeah, you need to call Wyatt right now. And she was like, don't tell me what to do. And she was like, call his phone right now, because if he doesn't answer when you call, then something is wrong with him. So the DA calls, and of course, he don't answer. He goes straight to voicemail. So Catherine reads that girl. Oh my gosh. And like I said, I like Shari Heatley as an actress, but her character on here, is not cool. And it's funny, I didn't used to watch, is it All My Children? I think she was on All My Children. So me and my mom be talking about the show, and she was like, oh yeah, I never liked her since All My Children. So I was like, what? You don't like Lisa McDowell? And she was like, girl, no. So anyway, Catherine tell her like, yeah, I know how you got them eggs in the freezer because you ain't got no kids or no man. And basically like, yeah, if something happened to my son, she was like, it's going to be me and you. And she was like, oh, don't threaten me. And she was like, oh, well, let me make this clear. She called her a B. And she was like, she will murder her in the streets, y'all. I was like, the streets? But then, the little pro-black in me was like, oh, why you have to tell the black girl you're going to kill her in the streets? But whatever. Okay. In this case, I'm kind of here for Catherine because, yeah, that's my son. Like, you trying to help, but you making it worse. Like, so I kind of get where Catherine is coming from. But I was like, why got to be in the streets? Why you couldn't say something like, I don't know, whatever, but whatever. So anyway, Catherine throws the little piss cleaner at her and was like, yeah, he always passes his drug test, and this is how. You don't even know about this, Miss Little DA lady. Some little kids came up with this little pee cleaner, and that's how he passed his drug test. So you done gave my son all this money to buy copious amounts of cocaine and heroin, and now you can't find him. So if something happened to him, oh, I'll be back. And she left. Her little red suit was kind of cute, too. I was like, go ahead and Catherine, you finally changed clothes. And then she gonna say, yeah, and Catherine told the DA, have a nice day, because it might be your last. I was like, ooh. So, of course, soon as Catherine leaves, the DA get on the phone. She called a guy to see if he tracked Wyatt's phone, and who else did he call? She called, I feel like she called Wyatt one more time, and once again, he didn't answer. So, boom. Next scene. Hannah storms over to Candace's house. She said she done took, 3 or 4 buses and walked a mile? I'm like, you just stole the $900. You couldn't get a cab or Uber? I can't be walking no mile unless I'm exercising. My husband be walking all down the street, and I'd be like, why you just didn't drive? He'd be like, it's right down the street. I'm like, that's like 4 blocks away. But hey, to each his own. But whatever. So Benny answered the door, and Hannah storms in like, I need to see your sister. She done got the baby taken away from me. I need to talk to her now. So Hannah busts in. When she busts in, it's the lawyer, it's Candace, it's the grandfather of the little black girl who got ran over, and Benny. So Hannah was like, what's going on here? And the grandfather was like, oh, I'm just meeting with your son and daughter so we can get in on this lawsuit against the Criers. And Hannah get mad and get pissed off, and she kicked everybody out, y'all. She kicked the lawyer out. She kicked the grandfather out. She's like, get out. And Candace was like, oh, this is my house. She was like, y'all get out. The lawyer was like, yeah, call me later. That lawyer, no, like, I ain't playing with no black woman. When she said get out the house, I get out the house. I was like, you better know that's right, lawyer. So anyway, so Candace and Hannah and Benny, they just kind of going back and forth or whatever. And Hannah is telling Benny, don't sue those people. And then Candace was like, oh, look at you still protecting them like a slave. She was like, keep calling me a slave and I'm going to beat you like you a slave. I was like, oh, that was good. I was like, they coming with all the one-liners on this finale. I was like, go ahead, Tyler, let us have it. And so basically Hannah just reveals to Benny, like, look, she sued Jim Crier for $7 million. That's how you got the houses in the tow yard. So you already got your settlement from these people. They paid for your medical bills. You're alive, because if it wasn't for them, you probably wouldn't be alive. Because remember, they had them in county, and county was like, I think this is it. So Hannah was like, don't sue them. And not because I'm all they made and they friend, it's because this much greed, it gets you nothing. And I do agree with that statement. I mean, I don't feel like Benny technically got a settlement. Like, I do kind of feel like he probably should have some money in his name. But I mean, I do agree with, Hannah is saying, like, don't get greedy. Like, maybe if Benny would have got some money for real and was still trying to sue, that would have been too much. But technically, this is the money Candace got. So Benny still owed something in his name to me. And so Benny was like, is that for real? And Candace was like, he gave me that money. Like, that's separate or whatever. And so that was that. So they go back and forth. And then the next thing you know, Hannah gets on her knees. She like, look, mind you, this whole time, Hannah telling Candace to shut up, be quiet, leave me alone, calling her little girl. She's treating her like, she is her mother, mothers will cuss you out whether you right or wrong or whatever needs something from you or not. So Hannah was giving it to Candace. But then the next thing you know, Hannah gets on her knees and she's like, please, like, I am begging you. Like, let me have the son. He needs to go to school. He needs to go to church. He needs a stable home. Like, basically she was saying, I know you and I don't get along, this, and that, and even what's just happening right here, but, I am a better fit, so let me have the son. She was literally on her knees pleading. She said please at least 4 times. That's enough. One too many pleases for me, but, I get where she was coming from. Candace looked at her mama and said, I would rather some strangers in a foster home take my son than let you have them. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how crazy. Even Benny was like, dang, Candace. Somehow, some way, Hannah gets up and slaps the piss out of Candace. So it's a little pause. But y'all, Candace slapped her back. And I know, if somebody slapped me, I'm going to slap them back. But I'm just like, that's your mom. Like, even though you don't like her, that she, I don't know. Maybe Candace don't know that or don't feel like she doing what's best. But I'm like, you just slapped your mom, like, for real? Like, she only slapped you because you said something smart. But whatever, y'all. So Candace slapped Hannah. Boom. Next thing you know, Hannah just goes to choke the living daylights out of her. So they start squabbling, and Benny just not squabbling for real, but just kind of tussling around. And Benny pulls Hannah off of Candace. So Hannah was just like, you know what? I have been praying for you all this time. And last night the Lord told me to stop praying for you and to stop going after the son. But I just wanted him so bad that I didn't listen. So my idea was to come over here and beg you. But you are still telling me no. So finally, she was like, what date is it? Benny was like, Sunday the 14th or whatever. So she was like, and I was like, isn't that funny? Because this Sunday was the 14th, right? No, Monday was the 14th, but whatever. She was like, I'm done. As of this day, I am washing my hands. You about to have a hard life. You about to live a life where nobody is praying for you. Nobody is covering you in prayer. So you about to see. So even though Candace started having tears in her eyes, which was good to see, like, dang, she do got a heart in there somewhere. She gonna say something smart like, well, who's praying for you, Hannah? Hannah was like, the blood of Jesus. I was like, come on, Hannah, the blood, it still works. So then Candace was like, oh, and where do you live again? I was just like, oh, that was just so harsh. I hate when people like be praising the Lord and then somebody point out some financial issues. Because y'all, financial issues don't have nothing to do with your blessings. You could be poor and half dead, but if you got the blood of Jesus and you got the comfort of the Lord, you gonna be all right. But you could be a trillionaire and be miserable and sick and dying and lonely and unhappy. I mean, look at Catherine, you know? So I was just like, oh, Candace, girl. But anyway, y'all, Hannah pick up her purse. Benny tried to help her. She snatched her purse from Benny because she like done with Benny. Like, oh, you in cahoots with her? And Hannah walk out, y'all. I'm just like, oh, poor Hannah. So David back at the jail waiting for the call. He was like, David was like, oh, I'm going to stay right here in this jail until I get a call. And if something happened to my wife, you know, it's on. So David do get a call, but it's from the homie. And the homie was like, I'm assuming it's, what's his name? Brandon? I forgot his fake name. Oscar, maybe. It didn't sound like him, but maybe it was him. So whoever was on the phone got the address. So David storms out to go head over to Veronica's house. Next scene, Jim is going into the little meeting room to meet with the banker. Y'all, Jim got his jacket back. I'm like, I understand you got some pool to get some wigs or whatever, but they're not going to give you your jacket back just to go talk to the lawyer. And you had on a business shirt anyway, or dress shirt anyway, so what you needed the jacket for? But whatever, I digress. So anyway, the banker tells Jim, like, Candace came to the bank today to get a loan. Jim's like, dang, I can't believe she ran through $7 million. And she's stupid because don't she know she needs some collateral? And the banker's like, no, she got collateral. She has 2 homes and a tow yard. It's worth $3 million, and she's asking for 2. But I already told her no. Jim was like, no, go ahead and give it to her. But put it in fine print that she got 15 days to pay it back, or else we taking everything. The house, the tow yard, and everything. Now, like I said, I'm not Team Jim, but I do think that was smart. Like, if somebody robbed me in real life and I could get them back that way, that's a clever way to do it. But, you know, I don't want Candace to lose all that stuff because I don't want Benny to lose his stuff. But, hey. So we'll see what happened with that. The social worker twiddled on over in her, what kind of car was that, y'all? That was like a Datsun 210. Okay, it wasn't a Datsun 210. I know it wasn't that old, but I mean, hey, she's a social worker. I understand she on a salary. But hey, if old boy gave you $25,000, like you could upgrade to a Nissan Sentra or something. But hey, you spend your money on what you want it on. Or hey, that could be your work car. I don't know. But, so the social worker pops up at Candace's house, give her a bag with $55,000. And Candace was like, that's all? I should beat you up again. I was like, Candace is crazy. And she was like, well, hey, that's what I can get. And look, by the way, your son is waiting. Should I tell him you're coming? And she was just like, get away. But I'm like, why is she me so mean now? I mean, I guess, you know, she should be mean. Like, she think, oh, girl got her money taken. But about the son, I figure you should tell her something. Like, you already lost them before. Like, and I know Candace is kind of debating if she should get him or if maybe she should listen to Erica and do give him to her mama. But you should at least told the social worker, like, you know, yeah, I'm coming, or I'll be there, or yeah, I know, bye, or something. But whatever. She just sent social worker on. So the social worker pull off, and then Jeffrey pull up, and Veronica pull up. Well, Veronica pull up before Jeffrey. So Veronica pull up in her little, it looked like a Range Rover or maybe a BMW truck. And Candace just happened to still be standing outside, so they make eye contact. And then that's when Jeffrey pull up in his cab, and then he's starting to go straight to his house. So I guess he went to go get his key made. So he recognizes that's his mother, so he just standing there and looking. Y'all, right in front of Jeffrey and Candace, Veronica called Maggie and was like, I'm on my way home, meet me there. And she called the cops and was like, oh my gosh, I just saw a robber go into my neighbor's house. Can you come and check it out? I was like, okay, I see you, Veronica. So clearly she know that something about to happen. So I think she's doing it in front of them to let them know, like when it all comes out, like, yep, that was me and I can do that to you. So anyway, Veronica gets out the car. And Jeffrey was like, what are you doing here? And she was like, come. And she just started walking. And he just stood there. And she was like, come. I was like, what is up with these slave calls? Like, I understand as a mother, you kind of be telling your kid to come on and do what you say. But I'm like, this is a grown man. But whatever. Jeffrey showed come. So Veronica walks up to the door. Y'all, Candace gonna say, oh, don't step on my grass. I was like, Candace is crazy. All of these one-liners were killing me, y'all. This episode was so good. So she was like, Veronica was like, can I come in? And then Candace was like, no. Yeah, I wouldn't let her in either. But she was like, oh, it's about Quincy. And at that point, Jeffrey right there too. So they kind of look all scared. So they go ahead and let her in. So Veronica look around, was like, oh, this your little place, huh? This where you been staying, Jeffrey? Jeffrey don't answer. And Candace was like, yeah, this where he been staying. And Veronica's like, oh, I heard you bought a house or whatever. And she was like, yeah, I bought a house and I paid cash, $1 million. And she was like, that's nice. So she attempted to sit down and the couch is real low. And the funny thing is, when she started sitting down and was going way down, in my head, I was like, dang, that couch is low. Lo and behold, guess what Veronica say? Oh, this couch is low. That's a sign that it's a knockoff. I was like, oh my gosh. And earlier she said something too about the furniture, like, oh, because Candace was like, ain't my house nice? And Veronica was like, yeah, if you like to buy furniture by the room. And she was like, no, I buy furniture by the house. I was like, come on, Candace, you really did. But even though you got it all sneaky, but hey, you did buy it by the house. So that was kind of a little funny back and forth. And then I felt some shade of me because I love looking at furniture magazines and looking at rooms and be like, oh, I like this room. So I was like, is that bad? I would buy furniture by the room. But whatever. We all know that Veronica is Bugetto. Oh, yeah. And I forgot to say, when Veronica walked up and told her, Candace told her to get off the grass. And she was like, also like, oh, I want to talk. And Candace was like, oh, I can't help you with your hair, so I don't know what you want. I was rolling. But first of all, I think Veronica hair look cute. And I mean, I guess that's because we know where it come from. I guess it do look cute for a straight out of jail front for the press hairdo. But I'm like, Veronica, you've been rolling through the hood all day. You couldn't stop and get you another quick wig. But like I said, I mean, she looked cute and presentable enough to me, but I think us girls know, like, usually when we got something around the edges, we kind of hiding something. I mean, some girls covering their edges is just their style, but I think we know. So I get it. So Veronica crazy, y'all. She was like, yeah, Jeffrey, when you coming home? Because Melissa is waiting and we got a wedding to plan. Candace was like, you crazy. Like, he not coming home and he not marrying that girl. And Jeffrey was like, yeah, I'm not, or whatever. And she was like, oh, yes, you will. So she pulled out a water bottle and started throwing water everywhere. And Candace like, what are you doing? Stop. Get out my house. And Veronica's like, I'm kind of going in out of order about how each of these words happened, but this is overall what happened. So Veronica was like, oh, why you not saying nothing to me, Jeffrey? Like, you still, are you scared because you're pressing charges against me? Are you testifying against me? She was like, oh, by the way, are you still doing that? I was like, this girl is too much. Jeffrey was like, oh, yeah, I'm still doing that. And she was like, So that's when she started pouring the water out or whatever. And so basically Candace kick her out. And she was like, all right, y'all, I'll see you later. She even kind of played with Candace's hair a little bit or whatever. And she just walk on out. And so Candace was like, what was that about? And she kind of looking around. And Jeffrey was like, I don't know. And then Candace was like, oh my gosh, wait, turn the lights off. So they turned the lights off, y'all. And everywhere she threw water, the blood was kind of illuminated or whatever. And Candace was like, oh my gosh, that's lumen oil. And Jeffrey freaking out like, what? What's lumen oil? Technically, I didn't know what lumen oil was either. But hey, now we know. And she was like, it's something that makes blood show up or whatever. So they start freaking out like, oh my gosh, she knows. So yeah, Candace like, yeah, she knows. So that was that, you guys. So the people find out that Wyatt is at the Sarandon. They get the security to bust into his room. He all laying dead to the bed, y'all. So they check his pulse and they like, we don't have a pulse. I'm like, why y'all didn't say call 911? But I guess we'll get to that, well, clearly next season. But whatever, y'all, it's looking like Wyatt dead. He ain't got no pulse. So we'll see what happened with Wyatt, y'all. Next thing you know, Veronica pulls up to her house. And when she pulled out, I expected to see the cops or whatever. So she started walking to the door. And I'm like, what does she think? The murder happened already and she about to go in? But I should have known Veronica knew Nan. All she does is go to the door and unlock it. And the dude in there, y'all, with his ski mask on. He got the gun. He walking to the door. The silencer is on. He like ready for action, right? So next thing you know, the cops pull up. So then Veronica's like, hey, cops, come here. Mind you, I kind of thought that the guy inside would hear that. Like, oh my gosh, the cops here. Let me run or let me hide. But I guess not. So Veronica twiddled on over to the cops and was like, yeah, I'm the one who called you. I just moved here, but I saw somebody in my neighbor's yard. And he was like, yeah, we checked it out. Nothing happened. So, maybe it was a false alarm. Meanwhile, Maggie Day pull up, y'all. Maggie Day get out. Veronica was like, oh, hey, Maggie, I'll be just a second. Go right on in. I was like, oh, my gosh, Veronica is a trip, y'all. So Maggie goes up to the door, and the funny thing is she seems scared. It seemed like she had some apprehension, but I guess you would have some apprehension, too, if you the side chick and your boo's wife called you over. So maybe that's what the apprehension about, but a lot of times people who I know who got shot, or even we see it on movies, they be saying that right before it happened they sensed something but maybe thought that they were tripping. So maybe that's what that hesitation was. So Veronica all talking to the cop trying to buy time, y'all. Maggie opened the door and boom, there go the killer. Gun to the face and boom, he pulls the trigger. And that's how it ends. Oh my gosh. So it was so good. Great hit cliffhanger. Great season finale to me. Like I said, all the quips and funniness was in there. That scene, where Hannah just washed her hands of everything. That was pretty good. When Catherine just read the DA, that was good. So that was it, you guys. That was the season finale. Of course, I really want to know what happens, but the episode was so good. I feel like that was a great finale. A lot of shows we've been watching lately, it just seemed like the finales be like, eh. But this one was really good, you guys. Oh my gosh, 28 minutes, so I've been talking too long. But anyway, you guys, so that was the review. That was the Have and Have Nots season 4 finale. All right, you guys, you know what's up. Give me the thumbs up and go ahead and check me out on Twitter at TammyB_, and that's TAMI, the letter B and the symbol _. All right, you guys, see you in the next review. Bye.